Hey listeners, Mrs. Smith here. Today we're talking about an elusive bank robbing trio that made waves around North Carolina in the 1990s. For 7 years, a trio of bank robbers flaunted their expertise in front of security cameras. They left no forensic evidence behind and always got away before police arrived. They had accumulated between $600,000 to $700,000 in the course of 8 bank jobs. However, their posture and what clothes they wore told a story that could be read by forensic scientists. In September 1991, in broad daylight, 2 masked men with handguns walked into a local bank in Calabash, North Carolina. The men had entered the bank shortly after an armored truck made its daily delivery of cash from the Federal Reserve Bank. Although a teller pressed the silent alarm, the robbers got away with $40,000 by the time police arrived. Surveillance cameras showed a well-organized crime. Both men were masked, wore gloves, and had a getaway car waiting outside with a third accomplice. Unfortunately, the robbery went unsolved. Then, a year later, the same bank was struck again. This time, a bank employee recognized the robbers' voices, the way they stood, and their directives, but had no concrete evidence to their true identities. Over a 4-year period, 6 bank robberies occurred between Calabash down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The getaway cars used in the robberies were stolen and abandoned miles away. Each robbery lasted between 2 to 5 minutes, and they averaged around $75,000 per job without leaving any forensic evidence. Although the assailants never killed anyone, the crimes were becoming increasingly violent. A teller would later testify that one of the men had grabbed her by the throat, dragged her across the floor, and kicked her repeatedly. Investigators tried to predict where and when the robbers would strike again, but they never imagined what would happen next. In 1996, the robbers returned to Calabash, North Carolina, and hit the same bank for the third time. It turned out to be their biggest heist to date, walking out with $175,000. However, a witness outside wrote down their license plate number, then did something law enforcement officers discourage. He pursued them. The chase reached speeds of 80 miles per hour. At one point, the robbers stopped their car, turned around as one of them stepped out of the vehicle with a gun to confront the witness. Luckily, the witness managed to speed away. Listeners, take note. Please, no hero shit and don't go chasing down criminals. Meanwhile, investigators worked to identify the thieves. The fact that one of the robbers used a weaver stance, commonly adopted by law officers when pointing their guns, made them wonder whether he was one of their own. In 1998, authorities finally had a lead. A night witness outside of another bank in Calabash scribbled down the getaway car's license number and also tried to chase it unsuccessfully. The robbers had gotten away with $63,000. The vehicle, though, was traced to a local landscaper, Alvin Bellamy, age 41, who had 2 pieces of evidence against him. First, in his wallet, police found $117, all in crisp new fives and ones. Suspicious because $12,000 consisting of only fives and ones had been stolen in a recent bank robbery. Second, Alvin had 2 brothers in law enforcement. Claude Bellamy, age 44, a former patrolman who worked for the Horry County Police Department in South Carolina for 12 years, and Larry Bellamy, age 48, a lieutenant with the Myrtle Beach Police Department who specialized in investigating crime scenes, including robberies. The 3 Bellamy brothers were arrested in 2000 and charged with bank robbery, assault with a dangerous weapon, and other related crimes. After 2 weeks and 70 witnesses, a jury convicted the brothers on February 22, 2000. Little brother Alvin received 15 years. Larry and Claude got harsher sentences, 50 years each in federal prison because they betrayed their badges. Alvin was released on July 3, 2008. Claude died while incarcerated at the age of 61 in 2016. Larry, though still incarcerated, is scheduled for release in 2042 at the age of 90.